Part 2 is creating a digital mobile editorial, and we're going to use XD, which is already a part of the Adobe Creative Cloud suites. Once you open it and find it, already have downloaded the file that I provided for you, which is the Editorial Digital Pages demo you'll find on Canvas. Make sure you go to Canvas and download the document. Also, please make sure you've already watched the Adobe XD tutorial for beginners. And if you do not have already the documents that you'll need for the editorial, which is the article and the 2 pictures, please make sure you download them. We will start producing the project. Open and then find your file wherever it's located on your desktop and open the document. So what you'll see here is I picked iPhone 14 Pro Max and I created 3 artboards. So all you need to do is click here if you wanted to add additional artboards. We will not be creating grids because this is a single column grid, but you will find grids under View, Show, Layout, Grid. Now you can use this format or you can go back and show square. But whichever one you choose is fine with me. So once you are here and have your grid, we can start populating each of these sections with the copy and images. All right, so we're about ready to start adding the assets, but I want to cover one more thing, which is there's a way to adjust your artboard. So if you didn't want to use the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is the template that is provided, there are other options. If you hover over and click on the artboard, you can choose any of these sizes. Let's say you want to do a Samsung. If I want to continue to click 3 more, I just click on the board and I will add 3 more artboards. If I want to manually change the artboard, I can do by starting with the template and then coming here and resizing it if I need an exact number, or I could move it just manually with the artboard tool. So that is 3 different ways, 1 using the template, 1 using the transform tool, and 1 manually moving it with the binding box anchors. Finally, we are adding the content. So most designers are given all the content, and it's our job to visualize the content for our clients. So we'll get the article and we'll get images. Sometimes we'll get to make images, but this is our task, is understanding and digesting the content and then visualizing it for the client. So here we go, and we're going to start with selecting the first title, and I'm going to go to the text tool. I'm going to create a box, and then I'm going to paste in that first title. And then we're just going to keep adding everything, and then we'll come back and add the sizes. You have a list already of sizes that has been provided for you, but I will go over how to do that for the first one, and then you will be able to have your marching orders to do the rest. So you can see I again going to select all of the copy. This one you would have to break it into parts if you did want to break it into parts. So now we have everything except for the image. And this first one is black and white. So we want to make sure we add the black and white image. And I'm just going to scale it so that it fits a little bit better in the space while we work on this page. And you can use a tool magnifying to make it larger or smaller. When I first loaded this in, there was a default of color on my type. Then we'll go to appearance on the right side, and we're going to change it to black. So I'm just going to bring the ball to the corner, making sure it's 100% black, and I'm going to do that for all of them. Now there is a section that you will be able to do any colors you want. I've even colored the text on this one, so feel free to just go ahead and be more creative when you have more options. So the other thing about the text, I want you not to do the indents and Please create a return so it creates a space in between the paragraph. I think for mobile, it allows the viewer to have a rest. The other thing to keep in mind is this mark is called the fold, is indicating that what you see from the top to where this line is what you see on the screen. So right here is the seam of where it stops being visible to the viewer, so that the viewer can see what is there, and also is an indication that it cues the viewer to continue to roll past. So we have our title, we have our header, we have our caption, and we have our copy. And all of this is now on the program. Now you can copy and paste it onto the next two so that you have all your assets where they need to be. But you're going to have to bring in the color for the other sections, potentially. Again, I'm just resizing it to make it fit. All right, and if you remember, if you want to take it off the grid to see it, you can check out what you're doing like that. Back to the grid because we're still working on it. And the next thing I'm going to show you is just how to size your type and where that's located. It's located on the right hand side, and you can see you can change your typeface. So I've been using Whitney, so it's all the way at the bottom. And then I'm going to change it because it can stay bold because it's the header. And I look at my sheet that was provided, and it says the first one, title, needs to be 2022. So 20 is the size. And right here you can see this indicates that this is the leading, the line spacing, which we want to change to 22. So 2022. So the header is done, and we move down to the next. Following my instructions, making sure you're using the correct typefaces for that section. So this one is sans serif, and I'm choosing a sans serif. And then the size for the header is 18, so just a little bit smaller, 2 points smaller. And I'm going to change this to light. So really play with your styles. It'll help you kind of create texture and atmosphere in your pages, especially when you're very limited to like a single column. And this is the captions, which is 14. And the reason why this is so much larger than the 0.8 is that on mobile devices, you must have the typeface pretty large. Like you cannot really have an 8 point. It's just too hard to read. So I stay in the realm of 14, and I usually don't go beyond 14. And the leading size is 16. And now we're going to do all of the body copy, which is 16. We got to change the typeface. And 16. I am going to change it to either medium, or if you have a book italic. Book, regular. Those are the kind of indications that it's for type, readable type, not display type, like your headers. So I'm doing book 16 with 18 points for my leading. So now all my type is set up. You would go through and do the rest and adjust all the sizes to what I require. The last one, I'm giving you a free choice. You've now worked on print and gotten used to like playing around with stuff, I want you to be able to play around with this last one. Choose your sizes. Remember that the smallest shouldn't be less than 14, but you really have as large as you want to go for the header. And then at this point, it's your opportunity to kind of space everything around to get it to fit. And how could you make this an interesting documentation that visualizes the content with such limited palette?